Good day. In this video, I'd like to talk about a feature of Occulus called the baseline analysis. So the obvious question is, what is the baseline analysis? The OBA, as we refer to it, is a preloaded analysis of an unqualified genetic lead. Now, what exactly does that mean? Well, what you'll see is when you first enter an opportunity into Occulus, you'll find that all the questions have been answered. And what this does is Occulus has established a baseline analysis for this opportunity that you wish to analyze. So what it does is it simplifies our task, because now all we have to do is update the generic answers with information, new information that is specific to the opportunity we wish to analyze. So, why do this? What are the benefits of this? Well, the first benefit is allows us to focus, or allows you to focus on a specific aspect of the sale. Like if you get a new lead, the first thing you want to do is find out whether or not it's real. Because if it isn't a real opportunity, you're wasting your time. And it gives us a structured approach to qualifying the opportunity and driving it through the sales process. And one of the key things is we want to qualify out early. And what I mean by qualify out is we want to qualify the opportunity right away in terms of, is the opportunity real, and do we have a solution that can satisfy the prospect's requirements? Because if we don't, we need to identify that as quickly as possible and get rid of it, because time spent on this particular opportunity is time wasted. And the common denominator for all salespeople is time. Then, in addition to that, with the OBA, your playbook is already in place, gives you a list of what you have to do and when to do it. So, and then enables us to track our progress. So, how is it created? Under what assumptions has Occulus made to create the baseline analysis? Well, the first assumption is that it's real. And if it's not real, then we wouldn't be doing this. And by real, what we mean is that the prospect has identified a problem and is committed to fixing it, which means, if it's a project and somebody is leading the project. A project without a leader is not a project. And the project has a completion date. A project without a completion date is just information gathering. And so these are the three primary characteristics that Occulus assumes are in place when it creates the OBA. The next assumption is that the opportunity is in early stage. Now, the idea of early stage is that it's early stage from our perspective as the salesperson. Where they are in their buying cycle remains to be determined. But from our perspective, this is an early or initial contact with the prospect. And so our knowledge of the opportunity is minimal. And the third assumption made is that we are involved in a competitive selling situation. If it wasn't a competitive selling situation that we were going to get the business, there's no reason to do the analysis. So these are three fairly valid assumptions. So just how do we proceed? Well, what we want to do is we want to really qualify the opportunity by updating the question answers with new information specific to the prospect. The first thing we want to determine is it real? So the first thing we're going to do is update opportunity description. The next area we want to look at is, can we compete? And by that, we mean, do we have a product and service that is a viable solution for this prospect? And we will look at proposed solution. Then we're going to look at, how do they buy? What's this prospect's buying process? Who's involved? What roles do they play? So we look at the decision. Who do we know? Who do I know? What kind of relationships do we have? And more important is, Who do we need to know? And then, how do I win? Is it a competitive situation? So I need to know what my competitive sales strategy is and how I'm going to beat these guys. And the final one is the timing realistic? We need to determine that as well. So let me now go to Occulus and let's enter a deal. So what you see here is I have an account open already, so I'm just going to, now, if you're connected to a CRM, you don't have this button and the lead is transferred over automatically by clicking the Occulus button on your CRM dashboard. But here, we're just using a standalone version, so we have to enter some basic information here. So let's give it an opportunity name. Let's say it's Printer. It's always a good name. And the company name is, let's say, here we go. And what are we selling? We're selling, let's say, printer software, okay? And we're going to choose one here. Where are we? We're in needs identification. We're really early in the sales cycle. The product group we're going to have is software. We'll put in a close date. Occulus requires a close date. So we'll put one in and we'll confirm it. And let's say it's, I don't know, $15,000. So click the next button. And what Occulus does now is it's creating the baseline analysis. And you'll notice a couple of things. First thing to notice is all the questions have been answered as indicated by these check marks here. And we can look at any of them, but you'll see how they are answered. Is because it's early stage deal from our perspective, Occulus assuming that you don't know what the compelling event. You don't really have a clear idea of what problem they're trying to solve. You don't know who's responsible for fixing the problem. So what we need to do is just go through and update the questions as we get the information. But before I do that, what I'd like to do is take a look at what the analysis of an unqualified opportunity looks like. So if I was to ask you, or somebody was to ask me and say, with this early stage lead, how well is it qualified? I would say it's not. I haven't met these guys. So and the next one is, well, if you had to guess at whether or not you're going to win the deal, what would you say your confidence is? 0. So that makes sense. If you look here and we look at the winning and timing probabilities, you can see that the winning probability is 0 and the low and the score, but the high is at almost 40%. And if you look here it is right here. And what that, as you know, the green part of this bar represents the potential. So what we're seeing here is that this opportunity, this early stage lead, has potential. So let's take a look at the timing. And this piece right here, and you can, as mentioned, the assumption is that the timing is in place, that the project has a completion date. And you can put timing here, you can see it's got about 14%. So what's the probability that's going to close by the close date we put in? Pretty low, 14%, it's not going to close by that date. And what we have to do is get additional information. So let's take a look at here and say, like, why aren't all these 0? Well, again, the assumption is in terms of opportunity description, this one right here, that this is a real opportunity. So there is some definition of the requirements. What we have to do is confirm what they are and identify them and get to them. In terms of our solution, do we know it fits? Why isn't that 0? Well, the prospect wouldn't take a call from us or agree to meet us if they didn't believe that the products and services that we sold could satisfy their requirements. In terms of the decision process or the customers or the prospect's buying cycle, we have no knowledge of it. In terms of a relationship, you see that, maybe a little bit non-zero. And what that means is we know at least one person in the prospect organization, and that's the name of the person that we have, that we're going to make a call to or we're going to set up a meeting. Can we beat the competition? We don't even know who the competition is, so the answer is no. So let's go and give this a try, and the first thing to do, as mentioned, is we want to start from left to right, so, or top to bottom here. We want to update the question answers with new information. So let's make some assumptions here. Again, do we know the compelling event? You know, let's say we've got an idea what it is, but we really haven't asked the question yet. So we'll answer that one, uncertain. Do we know what problems the prospect's trying to solve? Yeah, we do. And let's keep going. Do we know who's responsible? We may or may not. Let's say uncertain. Is it linked? Perhaps not. Let's say it's funded. And in terms of a vendor selection date, has the prospect determined one? Let's say, they haven't nailed it down, so we'll leave it as uncertain. In terms of the priority of this opportunity, do we know how important it is? Let's say it's, at this point in time, it's medium. Let's keep going here. Statement of requirements been created. Let's say no. To what degree have they defined the requirements? Let's leave it at uncertain, because right now they're just kind of casting around looking for information. Have they defined the project objectives? Yeah, they know what they want. Have they done the critical success factors? I don't know. Is it strategic? Don't know yet. And let's say, has the prospect tried other solutions to this problem? Yeah, let's leave it as that. Let's say, yeah, they have, but okay. Yeah, they have, but they didn't work. So there's some basic information. So we want to kind of get a sense if this thing is real. And if you look at the result we've got, we have a large uncertainty. And if you're unfamiliar with reading the SWOT chart, I encourage you to watch the SWOT video. It explains how this chart works. Okay, so if we look here, it looks like we're around 70%, but as you know, the green represents the potential while the red represents the risk. And the length of this bar is all dependent on how many questions I answered uncertain. But it looks like it's a pretty good definition. It's about 75%. Let me just find out what exactly it is. It's 72%. But it goes to a strength. There's a lot of potential here, 96%. There's some risk, but some threat, as you can see, at less than 50%. But if I had to make a statement at this point in time, I would say this is a real opportunity and one I want to invest more time in. And you'll notice over here that the timing has moved up. So information captured in the opportunity description does impact the timing. And so what we have then is the timing seems to be becoming a little more realistic. A lot of uncertainty, yes. So I would say at this point in time, this is an opportunity worth pursuing. And my next step would be to take a look at my solution and see how it fits. But I'll leave that to you and let you get busy on it. Okay? Thanks for your time and enjoy Occulus.